So recently I was scrolling through the internet, looking for things to talk about on stream, and I was sadly accosted by this man's face. He has the mustache goatee combo, the true hitter, the big hitter, you know what I'm saying? And he's angry. He's very angry. He's angry about progressives because they apparently ruin everything that they touch. I ruin everything that they touch. I'm like Midas, but with the shit touch. I make everything SJW or something. I don't know. But it's called How Progressives Took Over Games Workshop and every other company. And if you didn't know, Games Workshop is the company that owns Warhammer 60K, I think. I don't play that nerd ass shit, so I wouldn't know. I play real man's games like Animal Crossing and Enter the Gungeon. So I wouldn't know what this nerd is talking about. But I do know that this video is probably going to be cringe. So I thought it'd be fun to hop into it. What do you all say? I don't care what you have to say because we're doing it anyways. Let's go. Let's see how progressives ruin every company they touch. Yeah, he looks like Styx had to go into the witness protection program or something.
I haven't been overly interested in
Styx, Razor Fist, and this guy are all the same person. I feel like, have you ever seen them in the same room together? I haven't. I think they're all the same exact person, and you cannot dissuade me from this belief.
Talking about SJW and communist infiltration of nerd hobbies in a while because the
communist infiltration of nerd hobbies. Communist infiltration? How many communists do you think there are? And how hard do you think that they're going to infiltrate? This is so weird. How you hear from a lot of right-leaning people, how they think that the left is some sort of organized body. Like the left can barely coordinate walking in one direction. It's so weird how they think there's some organized front against all rightism or whatever. I don't know, dude. Yeah, I don't know. Communist, finally, we've reached it. Communist infiltration. This is 2 steps away from the JQ. So,
the problem has become way more extreme than that. But really, it's neglectful of me because a lot of people who aren't all that politically active and aren't aware that we're basically at war with progressive terrorists.
At war with progressive terrorists. This man's language has just blown me out of the water. He thinks there's a bay of pigs, but anarchists are landing on the streets of Normandy or something, just ready to absolutely obliterate all that the right holds dear, all sanctity. We're here to destroy the nuclear family. I don't know what this guy's talking. He looks so sad. Poor boy. I wonder what he's gonna say.
In this country right now, usually first wake up to the fact that something is very wrong when their own niche communities become inexplicably under assault from these kinds of people.
Listen to this language. Infiltration, under assault, something like dismantling or something. You listen to me? I speak very good. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I've been working on it for about 21 years now. Sorry. Thank you. My mother got me into it. I don't know, just the language that this guy uses is incredible to me. The severity of the situation that he's trying to ascribe, the web that he's weaving, it sounds like that he's on the cusp of a civil war.
That's basically what Gamergate was. Everyone wants to say it was, one group of people in Gamergate want to say this was a response to unethical collusion in games journalism, which was partially true but not accurate.
Unethical collusion in games journalism. This is the great meme. This is the Heather Heyer died of a heart attack. This is the do you really think that those ovens could take 6 million? Yeah, this is the same level of just stupid conspiracy theory sort of whitewashing of history. Gamergate was not about ethics in game journalism. It was about hating a specific person, a specific type of person, for engaging in progressivism, for invading, infiltrating, as this guy would like to say, areas and hobbies usually associated with men and usually associated with straight people. They're adding this gay SJW cringe into it, making us think about how we shouldn't make as many Jew jokes and like women get back in the kitchen jokes. How dare you? How dare you say we should be inclusive to more people than just ourselves? How dare you? And then they orchestrated a massive hate campaign against a bunch of people for saying stuff like, "Hey, like a lot of stuff in games sounds kind of shitty from a woman's perspective." That's it. It is childish. It's children and they don't want to share. Yeah, they don't want to share their toys. It's like the people who got pissed over a woman being on the front cover of Battlefield. Just they showed their cards there. Or when they got really angry when they put boy shorts on a Jill Valentine just because you couldn't see her wet, dripping, quivering clit through her panties like you could in the previous game or something. I don't know. I highly doubt that this was. I don't even think that these people believe that.
And some people want to say it was some kind of harassment campaign from misogynists and whatever, and that's not accurate at all. What it was a resistance to an exclusionary, very aggressive and vicious political ideology.
Exclusionary, very vicious, revolutionary front. I didn't know that this guy was on the Eastern Front of a massive war, dude. What do you mean exclusionary? All they were like is, hey, you should let more women in without shitting on them. And then they got pissed. How dare you say that I should share my toys?
That usually seeks to conquer, completely change a hobby, and then also exclude the actual original members of that hobby, and then basically terraform it into political propaganda. This is what Gamergate was resisting. And that's what Comicsgate was and is resisting. Some hobbies completely fell with minimal resistance to Marxists and progressives and other kinds of ugly, vicious people. Magic the Gathering is lost completely.
I'm just so shook at the language that this guy's using. This is why these people are so prone to violence. This is why. When you start using language like, games have fallen. We are the resistance fighting against this infiltrating evil exclusionary force to terraform our culture. When you use language like this, you're priming the pump of violence. You know that, right? This is why people show up at people's houses. This is why Alex Jones had to be banned, because people were literally showing up to their, like the Sandy Hook parents had to move houses like 4 or 5 times because people would keep showing up at their house and terrorize them over their dead kids. I don't know. This is not in a different. This is. I mean, it's in different clothing, but this is fash propaganda. This is incredible to me, to make people think that they're losing everything, like because they're like women in the video games. Like, and also this idea that it's become political now. When has a game not been political? When has Battlefield, a game about like war between different nations, not been political? When?
Comics, I would argue, are going to lose to these people, and comics as a hobby will be basically destroyed forever. And now we're looking at a brand new, little small scale war in a more niche hobby than gaming by a lot, because gaming is actually not a niche hobby. It's a multi-billion-dollar world industry. But something that is more of an insular hobby of very loyal fans is currently being destroyed as we speak, and that is the Warhammer and Warhammer 40k universe.
Killing Nazis isn't political, duh. Well, actually, that's something I want to touch on for just a second. Because I think that they kind of actually would agree with that, tacitly and not vocally, but they would actually agree with that. There's an idea of, in these sorts of communities, what's considered political is just something that is not already generally universally agreed upon within a certain community. So if the entire community is already like Nazis bad, then obviously it's not going to be a point of contention, and then they wouldn't consider it political. But if you're like, there aren't just 2 genders, then obviously no, this is political. How dare you say this? If you like, there's no such thing as systemic racism. So if someone is in chat and is like, yeah, systemic racism doesn't exist, no one in these sorts of communities would bat an eye because they all agree that it doesn't exist. But once you go against it, then it is. So what is and is not considered political is just basically what the community does and does not agree with. It's not political. It's not our politics. That's how they actually view it. So that's why they're that's why they got so mad with things changing, because then they didn't agree with it. They didn't say anything when Battlefield contained just like majority white, presumably straight men, even though that's a political statement. Having majority white people is a political statement. Having majority black people would be a political statement as well, in a certain way. And these people, I don't know what their definition of politics is. I think their only idea of politics is like electoral politics or something. You only talk about representatives and the president and like Congress or whatever. Politics is literally, and you can look up the definition, politics is just anything people disagree on. There you go. There's your definition of politics. So if you say something and someone can theoretically take disagreement to it, congratulations, you've reached the world of politics. But these people, they don't want to believe in that. They want to believe in their way of life isn't political and everything outside of that is. Like there's only like they think there's two genders. That, you know, they do agree that there's two genders, but instead of man and woman, it's man and political. You know, there's two sexualities. You know, there's straight and political. There's two races. There's white and political. That's what they have to say. They unironically will be like, if there's someone who doesn't fit that category, would be like, they have to justify being there. For you to be a woman, for you to be black, for you to be not to be straight, for you to be any of these certain things, you have to have a justified reason for being there, or else it's just weird politics.
Recently on Twitter, Warhammer posted the same kind of shit that we normally see from cowardly companies who kowtow to social justice warrior mobs. They posted something that said along the lines of, Warhammer is for everyone, except for you, bigot. And the problem with things like this is, it's very easy for some...
For one, let me stop. Yeah, that's great. I think that's cool. I'm not sure how much the company is actually going to follow up in that and then try and enforce it. It's kind of hard to enforce people buying your playing cards or whatever. How do you play Warhammer 40K? I said 60K before. How do you even play that game? I don't even know. Honestly, I thought it was just kind of like a book. I don't know if you can get people to like not buy the models or whatever or something. Actual games? What do you mean actual games? Fuck you. You can't really stop people from like going to their local game shop and then buying like a 40K like box, you know, but maybe they can crack down at it at their like official gaming things, or like put out these sort of statements or something along those lines. But it's just like a nice gesture to the community, like, hey, you know, we won't take bigotry. That's cool. But apparently this guy has a massive issue with
somebody who is just not in the know, or somebody who is incredibly dishonest, to say, what's wrong with saying we don't want bigots in our hobby? I'll tell you what's wrong.
Go ahead.
Progressives always lie. So when they call someone a bigot, they are almost always, and in fact, in my experience, as far as I know, always, 100% of the time, lying about who is a bigot.
Okay.
Currently, a couple of...
So he set the trap for you all already. Okay. So here's his game. So his game is, so companies coming out and saying we're against bigotry is bad. And then you would go, well, actually it's not bad because there's nothing wrong with that. And he would go, actually there is, because it's not true. And then you'd go, well, here's an instance of something that I would think it would be easily called bigotry. And he's like, it's a lie. So there is no way out of his ideology. If you point it out, it's not true and it's a lie. And if you don't point it out, that means there is none there. And if you try to say it's not a lie, you're actually the one lying. It's just conspiracy. There's no way out. It's a circle that wraps around and envelops itself. There's no way out of this guy's mind prison. It's just locked. It's a maze. It's a massive maze, and you can't get out.
Of what I would consider to be YouTubers to the left of me. I would consider them to the left of a lot of people, and a lot of the people I hang out with are not, you know, very supportive of these people anymore, because they find them to be in some ways morally reprehensible, not for being bigots, but for being afraid to tell the truth about progressives.
Afraid to tell the truth. See, dude. Conservatives have such a victim complex. They think that they're the most oppressed group in the entire world. No one wants to speak the truth. Nobody has our backs. We got our backs against the wall, and no one's gonna stop them, dude. They're like hungry animals. They're just gonna take over everything. Dude, you're fine. They just said that they don't want. Oh my gosh, I punched my mic. I'm so sorry. They just said that they don't want people like screeching the N-word playing their video games. It's really not that hard.
Arch Warhammer, who's no longer known as Arch Warhammer because Games Workshop actually sent this guy whose entire channel is about supporting their product. Okay, Arch Warhammer is a guy who does lore videos about Warhammer, who talks about Warhammer games, who talks about Warhammer models, and his entire channel is invested in their community. And they told him, we want you to cease and desist using our trademarked phrase in your name, not because of any kind of a financial situation, but because they were pressured to by a group of communist social justice warrior types who had been infiltrating the community.
What do you mean by infiltrating the community? You mean the community's culture has just changed? They're not just like I don't know, like racist shitheads? They're just not shitheads anymore? Is that it? Is that what you mean by infiltrating the community? What? Why does he think that there's like, I don't know, like femboys and like Ruski hats or something? Like Mission Impossible, Skyfall, 000 falling into Games Workshop and like pumping the SJW gas into the halls of the corporation? I don't know what you're talking about, dude. What do you mean by infiltrating? I don't want you. The community culture is just changing. You hear this all the time. I mean, I don't even engage in the 40K community, but I've heard from this a reasonable amount of times already that there's lots of people talking about that there's real like social problems, that the culture of the community is kind of bad, that community members of color have faced discrimination, women get a lot of creepy stuff sent their way. Like can this not just be the community changing and wanting something different and not some sort of orchestrated downfall of the community or something? I don't know. What are you talking about?
It's not just certain, everyone's aware that Reddit is a cesspit of extremist leftists, right? But it's not just places
like the Donald was one of the biggest subreddits, like political subreddits ever. Didn't that at its peak have like 1 million followers? What do you mean? What do you mean? Like the whole place is full of like edgy memers. What are you talking about? Reddit was like for a long time like a massive free speech bastion. Like Reddit got in trouble for once for letting, I think it was like a child sex ring basically go in under their watch because they just was so super free speech, you know? They didn't crack down on it. I don't know what you're talking about. This place, like I've been on Reddit. I mostly go on Reddit to see Big Booby because I like half the things that half the communities I'm a part of on Reddit are just like porn subreddits. But besides that, it's just porn, art, and memes. That's literally all my Reddit is. And even then, I get a lot of edgy shit in my timeline. I don't know.
It's like Are the Donald or Are lesbians or whatever that are being ostracized and taken over. And there's, it's not just politicized spaces where you can't talk about certain things. It's a lot of fandoms of
what do you mean talk? You make it sound like these people are like, I don't think socialized healthcare is good. Please don't hurt me. Like it's not that. There's actually like really terrible things going on. I had screenshots, but I lost them. The Donald was a cesspit of racism. I remember reading this. I remember back when the Donald was like still active and it was just quarantined. I remember reading through a comment thread on that subreddit about them genuinely talking about how they hate their lives and this person, they hate their life and they hate the company they work for because it's based in Mexico and they have to deal with a bunch of like Mexican people and they hate. And he said that he like has a visceral like bodily physical reaction every time he hears Spanish, and he hates the ugly, insert like a Hispanic slur here word, like weirdos who come crawling in from across the border. It was a really, really bad place.
Celebrities. It's a lot of fandoms of video games. It's a lot of fandoms of, well, just about any topic where if you express not even a conservative opinion, not even an alt-right or extremist or whatever opinion, if you just express a liberal opinion on a lot of these sites, you will be banned. And a lot of the a lot of the Warhammer communities on Magic the Gathering too, where if you were ever to say, I have a problem with this kind of exclusionary behavior, I have a problem with this kind of loaded and dishonest language.
See, it's really fun. Actually, we're the ones being discriminated against. I can't say that women belong in the kitchen anymore. Like, what what sentiment, what liberal sentiment is being expressed that would get this guy banned from any of these sites? You know, you do know r/conservative still exists, right? You still know that there's like really big conservative subreddits. You still know that there's a lot of like really what I would consider toxic people in a lot of these communities. The gaming community is is a toxic cesspit, dude. I think it would kill a full-grown adult African elephant with how toxic a lot of these places are. You don't have to look any further than like League and Dota to see how toxic these places are, dude. I don't know what you're talking about. What liberal sentiment would get you banned from these places? A lot of these places, they have pretty lenient rules. I even think Twitter is pretty lenient, honestly. I just reported a lot of left-wing people the other day, and they got their shit banned. I still am always gonna hold to Twitter being pretty unbiased, actually. So I don't know what these people are saying. You said the Warhammer community has been changing a lot in the last few years, considering the increase of women in it, and that it's less toxic and garbage. Oh, wow. You integrate a lot of the people who keep getting shit on in these communities to the communities in a group, and then things change. Yeah, it's really hard to be as bad when you're sitting across from someone who's the demographic that you want to shit on, you know? And then you get and then the people who run the site don't who run the event don't let you do it. It's just a large cultural change that's going to have to take place.
If you're a bigot, you won't be missed. We don't want you in our community. You won't
be missed.
A lot of people are having a problem with this because they say, I have a problem with organizations like Black Lives Matter or Feminist Frequency, or take your pick of any of these usual Marxist, postmodernist, critical theory types. They're all the same thing because they lie. I don't want these people to have control over my hobby. I'm not trying to exclude them. I don't want them to have control over my hobby. I don't want my hobby, the corporate side of my hobby, to kowtow or pander or to use the language of these people because they lie. It's not, we don't want bigots here. When a company gives a statement like, we're an inclusive space, and if you have a problem with that, we don't want you here. What they're saying is, if the mob tells us you're exclusionary, if the mob tells us you're a bigot, we will get rid of you, and we don't care if the mob is lying.
Well, this happens with everything. Anytime there's public outrage about literally anything, this is going to happen. Remember all those, remember back in the day when you saw videos of people burning their Nikes and their like Nike like stuff when they picked up Colin Kaepernick? You remember what's his name? Calvin? Colin? Is it Colin? Colin Kaepernick? Yeah, when they picked up Colin Kaepernick, remember that? Remember how a bunch of conservatives were bashing up their Keurigs with like golf clubs and dragging them behind their trucks when Keurig dropped Tucker Carlson as a sponsor? You know, what do you mean? The right engages with this all the time. Anytime. Actually, it's happening right now, isn't it? Wait a second. Wait, let me see if I can look this up. Can I find this? Isn't this like Michelin? Or like Goodyear or something? I saw this trending like not too long ago. I think it's Goodyear. Yeah. Like the right is actively canceling Goodyear tires right now. What? The right's canceling a tire company at this very moment as we speak. All right. And so he's set the table for you. He's going to be like, bigotry isn't a real big problem. And you're like, well, here's some bigotry. And then he's just going to say that's a lie. You can't get through to him. You can't reach him. He's just put up a mental barrier to protect his stupidity. And he's just going to say anything that goes against what I say is a lie. And it's not good and it's not true because they lie. And the progressives are taking over everything. And also, I'd like to say, what sentiment are you saying that? Because people aren't going like, oh yeah, I don't like BLM. They're probably saying some stuff that's not just, yeah, I'm not for BLM. It's probably some other stuff than that. It's probably like George Floyd is no angel. BLM is Marxist terrorism trying to destroy the country and replace the white population with like subservient immigrant tools or whatever. They're saying some real crazy shit out there. I don't think anybody's getting banned for being like, I don't like BLM that much. It's not happening.
I followed Arch Warhammer for years. I didn't watch everything he said, but I watched a lot of his videos. The man is a milquetoast liberal. And the only problem with him is he's dared to tell the truth.
Arch Warhammer is a milquetoast liberal. Okay. Wait a second. Amazing. Amazing. Wait, can I pull this up? Do I have this? Wait, black people can't even find black history? Then why do they have a month for it? A moth for it? Not sure. Dang it, no cotton emote. Black history in 3 easy steps. 1. Get captured by black people. Get sold by black people. Get liberated by white people. Any questions? No, no, no. The N-word is not a smart creature, prone to violent outbursts. The black man is just fine. The immortal words of Chris Rock. The black people, there are black people and there are N-words, and N-words have to go. There are white people and there are socialists. No, no, no. There are people and there are socialists. Oh, they would find. There were also the kinds of blackies that think paint rendered them invulnerable to bullets. Pretty sure it had a Ching Chong author. N-word is not a slur. It's purely a descriptive term for people with higher melanin content. Nice. All right, we already saw that one. So, just milquetoast liberal things. Just milquetoast liberal things.
About SJWs and Marxists, which is that they are malicious liars, they are vicious people, they are extremely racist, they are incredibly bigoted, and the way that they take control.
Oh, he's doing it. The left is the left are the real racists.
With him is he's dared to tell the truth.
Do you think that he would agree that what Arch just said right there is the truth?
About SJWs and Marxists, which is that they are malicious liars, they are vicious people, they are extremely racist, they are incredibly bigoted, and the way that they take control over people's hobbies is they say, we're the good guys, we're going to spend some money and get in, because they have a lot of politicized donors.
No, you're actually telling me that like left-wing groups are more well-funded than right-wing groups? Where's the left-wing TPUSA? Where's the left-wing PragerU? Where's the left-wing Dave Rubin? Where's the left-wing Steven Crowder? Where's the left-wing Ben Shapiro? Where are they? Where are my donors? Listen, we all know that any left-wing streamer is getting paid by Soros and his happy merchant bucks. You know what I'm saying? That's what these guys believe. Holy crap. Big donors. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, my bad. Because the USPS is really messing up. My Soros bucks have gotten stopped and